believe a small thing like slippers could destroy my life. Today, I live with a sickness called elephantiasis because of one pair of slippers. I wear long clothes to hide my legs. I avoid crowd because people stare at me. Some whisper, some laugh, but they do not know the pain behind my story. Woman, I will tell you how it happened. My name is not important. I am just like many others. I grew up in a small town. I married young. Life with my husband was not perfect, but it was peaceful. We did we did not have much, but we had enough to eat. And we laughed sometimes. I thought marriage was safe. I thought my husband would stand with me forever, but I was wrong. As the years went by, I noticed my husband changing. He stayed out late. He stopped talking to me the way he used to. His phone became his best friend. I tried to ask him what was happening, but he always said, "You worry too much. Everything is fine." But in my heart, I knew something was wrong. Then one day, I discovered the truth. My husband had another woman. She was younger, bold, and always dressed in bright clothes. She was not ashamed to call him. She was not ashamed to meet him in public. I cried when I found out, but my husband did not stop seeing her. It felt like I was no longer his wife, just the woman who cooked and washed his clothes. The most painful part came later. This woman, his side chick, started pretending to be my friend. She came to my shop one afternoon with a wide smile. She called me sister. She said she wanted peace. She said she did not want to fight me over a man. She even hugged me. I stood there confused. How can someone who is destroying my marriage call me sister? But I am a simple woman. I do not like trouble, so I accepted her hand of friendship. That was my biggest mistake. 1 week later, she visited me again. This time, she came with a gift, a pair of slippers. They look beautiful, soft, colorful, and new. She said, "Take this, my sister. I want you to wear them. Whenever I see you in them, I know we are friends." I smiled and thanked her. I did not see any harm. After all, they were just slippers. The first day I wore them, nothing happened. Second day, too. But on the third day, I felt a strange itching between my toes. I thought maybe the rubbers were new and my skin was reacting. I ignored it. Days passed and the itching turned to swelling. First, my toes became heavy, then my ankle. Before long, my whole foot looked bigger than normal. I could not wear my normal shoes anymore. I thought it was just an infection. I thought it was just an infection. I soaked my feet in hot water. I used soap. I rubbed cream. Nothing worked. By the second month, my leg had become huge. I could not walk without pain. People started asking me what happened. Some said maybe I stepped on poison. Others said maybe I offended someone spiritually. My husband looked at me with disgust. He refused to take me to the hospital. He started sleeping out more often. He left me to suffer alone. When I finally went to the clinic, the doctor said one word that shocked me: elephantiasis, a disease that makes the legs swell, heavy like the leg of an elephant. My heart broke. I cried for days. How could slippers give me such a sickness? How could my life change so quickly? That was only the beginning of my nightmare. The day the doctor told me it was elephantiasis, I felt my whole world crash. He explained that it is caused by infection spread by mosquitoes, but deep down I knew my own story was different. This did not start after a mosquito bite. It started after I wore those slippers. I could not tell the doctor this because he could not believe me. He only gave me some drugs and told me to keep my legs clean, but no drug stopped the swelling. My foot became heavier with each passing day. Soon, even climbing the step into my house was hard. cooking, fetching water, sweeping. I could not do them like before. I started depending on my little girl to help me. Sometimes I cried in secret because I felt useless. My husband grew more distant instead of showing care. He became cruel. He would look at my leg with disgust and say, "What kind of woman did I marry? See how you look now. You stopped eating my food. You stopped touching me." He even told people I was lazy, that I refused to take care of myself. The same man I had served for years turned into a stranger. Worse still, the side chick continued to come around. She would greet me sweetly, pretending to care. Sometimes she would say, "Ah, sister, your legs is still swelling. Sorry, oh, maybe you should try herbs." But her eyes told another story. There was a hidden joy in the way she looked at me, as if my pain gave her happiness. At that point, I started to suspect her. But now, could I prove it? How could I accuse her without evidence? People in the neighborhood began to gossip. When I walked outside, I heard gossip. Some said I had been cursed. Some said I was paying for a sin I committed. Children would point at my leg and laugh. The shame was heavy. I started locking myself inside. The only time I went out was for hospital visits or to buy small food. My business suffered because I could no longer stay in the shop. Customers stopped coming. Slowly, I lost everything. One afternoon, an old neighbor visited me. She looked at me for a long time, then shook her head. She said, "My daughter, you must be careful of who gives you gifts. Not every gift is clean. Sometimes what looks like kindness is poison in disguise." Those words pierced my heart. I remember the slippers. I remember how the problem started after I wore them. My suspicion grew stronger. That night, I removed the slippers from under my bed and threw them into the dustbin outside. But it was too late. My legs was already destroyed. Even after throwing them away, the swelling did not go down. The damage was permanent. My life became a cycle of pain, morning pain, afternoon pain, night pain. I could not sleep well. My leg was already heavy, always burning. Sometimes water would leak out of the skin. The smell embarrassed me. I tried to wash and cover it, but it still showed. No matter what I did, I could not hide the sickness. One day, when my suffering became too much, I asked my husband to please take me to a bigger hospital in the city. He shouted at me, saying, "Do you think I have money to waste on you? Who will feed me and my woman if I spend all on your sickness?" That was the day I knew my marriage was over. I was just an extra person in his house. The side chick had already taken my place. I cried until my eyes were swollen. Not only did I lose my health, but I also lost my husband's heart. The slippers had stolen both. Sometimes, in my darkest moment, I wish I could turn back the time and reject that gift. But it was too late. My life had already been written by one act of betrayal. My life was falling apart, but the worst pain was not even my leg. It was knowing that the man I once called my husband no longer see me as his wife. I became like a stranger in my own home. He would leave in the morning and not return until late at night. And when he returned, he was either drunk or smelling of another woman's perfume. Sometimes I sat up waiting for him, hoping he would at least ask how I was feeling, but he never did. My presence no longer mattered. Then one day, the truth about the slippers came out. It happened during a visit from a woman I once knew in my youth fellowship. She had traveled for many years and had just returned to town. When she saw me, she was shocked. "Sister, what happened to your leg?" she asked. I explained everything, the slippers, the itching, the swelling. She kept quiet for a while, then asked, "Who gave you those slippers?" When I mentioned the name of my husband's side chick, her face changed. She sighed deeply. I have heard those stories about that woman. People say she knows things that are not ordinary. She uses gifts to trap people. You should never have accepted those slippers. My heart almost stopped. At that moment, my suspicion became real. It was not just my imagination. This woman had deliberately given me something that ruined my life. She wanted me out of the way so she could take my husband fully. I felt betrayed in a way I cannot even explain. It was not only my husband that betrayed me by bringing another woman into our life. The woman has said had pretended to be kind, only to destroy me silently. I sat there with tears flowing, asking myself why me? What did I do to deserve this? From that day, I could no longer look at her the way whenever she come around, pretending to be nice. My heart boiled. Sometimes she would even bring food and say, eat, sister, you will feel stronger. But I knew better now. I refused anything from her hand. I stopped even greeting her. I just kept my distance. But the damage had already been done. Every time I tried to walk to the market, people stared. Some even whispered, that is the woman with the elephant leg. The name stuck like glue. Children ran after me, chanting praise song. My self-confidence died. I no longer saw myself as a woman. I covered my leg with long gowns, but no clothes could hide the heaviness I carried. I, at night, I cry into my pillows, sometimes even ask God why He allowed me to fall into such a trap. Pray, I pray for healing. I beg for strength. But every morning, the swelling leg reminded me that my reality had changed forever. The hardest part was watching my husband enjoy life with the woman who destroyed me. He would even take her out openly, as if to rub it in my face. Neighbors who once respected me now pitied me. Some avoided me because they feel I carried the cause. My own sister who lived far away told me to come home and leave the marriage. But where would I go? I had no money, no strength, no business anymore. I was trapped. One afternoon, as I sat outside my house trying to get fresh air, a neighbor whispered to me, do you know that woman has been boasting? She said she will make sure you cannot stand beside your husband again. She said you will regret ever being his wife. Those words coursed through me like a knife. It confirmed everything. This sickness was not an accident. It was a plan to destroy me, body and soul. I wanted to fight back, but how could I? I was weak, both physically and emotionally. I could not even I could not even walk to confront her, and my husband would never believe me. In fact, he was already under her control. If I spoke against her, he would defend her and insult me. He would So I swallowed my pain in silence. But one thing I promised myself that day, I would not let her break my spirit complete. Yes, she had taken my health. Yes, she has taken my husband. But she would not take my faith, even in my tears. I decided to hold on to God. I believe that one day the truth will expose her in way nobody could deny. There was a time I thought my life had completely ended. I could no longer recognize myself. The mirror became my enemy. Whenever I looked into it, I saw a woman who had lost everything, her beauty, her health, her business, and even her marriage. Sometimes I refused to look at my reflection at all. I would just cover myself in wrapper and sit quietly in a corner, waiting for the day to pass. My children were the only reason I kept going. They were still small and they needed me. Even though I could not do much, I tried to smile for them. But deep inside, I was broken. They would ask, Mama, when will your leg get well? I did not have an answer. How do you explain elephantiasis to a child? How do you tell them that their mother's leg may never return to normal? The sickness drained me. Walking a few steps left me sweating and panting. My body became weak. Sometimes I could not even cook. My little girl, who should have been playing like other children, had to help me wash plates and sweep the house. It hurt me deeply to see her doing adult work, but I had no choice. My body was no longer my own. What made everything worse was the rejection from my husband. He no longer see me as a human being, let alone as his wife. Days would pass without him saying a single kind word to me. If I asked him for money for drugs, he would shout, "Do you think I work for you? Go and ask your family." But I knew the truth. He was giving all his money and time to the woman who ruined me. There were nights I stayed awake listening to them laughing together outside. Sometimes he would even bring her into the house while I was there. The shame was unbearable. I felt invisible, a living ghost in my own home. At one point, I thought of running away. I thought maybe if I left, my pain would reduce. But then I asked myself, where would I go with this sickness? Who would take me in? My family members had their own struggles, and society is not kind to women who leave their marriage, especially when they are sick. So I stayed, carrying my cross in silence. One evening, something happened that nearly broke me completely. My husband's side chick mocked me openly. She looked at me and said with a smile, "Sister, you should not stress yourself. Some women are meant to be strong, others weak. Maybe your destiny is just to sit down and watch." She laughed and walked away. I felt fire burn inside me, but I had no strength to respond. I just went back inside and cried until my chest hurt. That night, as I laid in bed, I realized something. If I continue crying, I would die before my time. If I continue waiting for people's pity, I will waste away completely. I could not change what had happened to my leg, but I could change how I carried the pain. That was when I decided to shift my mind. I started reading more. Whenever I got money, I bought books or borrowed them from friends. Story of people who suffer but they survive gave me strength. I began to write down my own thoughts in a notebook. It became my secret therapy. Instead of pouring my pain into endless tears, I poured it into words. Slowly, I began to feel a little lighter. I also started talking to God differently instead of asking, "Why me?" I started saying, "Lord, give me strength. If this is my cross, help me carry it." That small change gave me peace. I had not felt in a long time. My body was still weak. My leg was still heavy, but my spirit was no longer broken the way it used to be. Neighbors who once mocked me began to notice the difference. One woman told me, "You smile more often these days. How do you do it?" I simply said, "God is holding me." They did not understand, but I knew the truth. Pain had tried to bury me, but I refused to stay under. Even with this new strength, I never forgot the lesson. Not every hand stretched out in friendship is clean. Not every gift is given in love. I learned the hard way that some people will dress evil as kindness just to get close enough to destroy you. I decided that whenever I had the chance, I would tell other women my story. I will warn them, be careful of who you call sister. Be careful of the gift you accept. Pray over everything you receive. It might look ordinary, but behind it, there may be a plan to harm you. Yes, my life changed forever because of one pair of slippers. But if my story can save, careful of the gift you accept. Pray over everything you receive. It might look ordinary, but behind it, there may be a plan to harm you. Yes, my life changed forever because of one pair of slippers. But if my story can save even one woman from the same pain, then maybe my suffering will not be in vain. So, guys, this is a story from anonymous member. So she decided to share her story for others to learn, though she learned in a hard way. But she just wants to share her story for women out there to learn. So, guys, don't forget to share this video subscribe, turn on the notification button so that whenever I post new stories from members, you'll be notified immediately. Thank you for watching this video. Please like this video, comment below the comment section your thoughts, and see you in our next video. Bye.